Hi guys, Olive here today to talk to you about my reading plans for April 2020. Things are really unusual right now, but you already knew that. I am not used to having all of this extra time at home, but I'm doing my best to try to use it wisely, try to play a little bit of catch up on some of the lists of books that I wanted to get through this year that I made for myself at the end of last year. I have fallen way behind because of BookTube prize reading and new releases that I'm trying to write reviews of. There's been a lot going on, so I would very much like to get back on track. So the classic I'm going to read this month is The Three Musketeers by Alexandre Dumas, which is an adventure novel all about three inseparable friends. I've heard so many different people rave about how much fun his books are, and I could use some fun right now. I'm also keeping my 5-star nonfiction prediction lighter this month, so off of that list I have selected How to Be a Good Creature by Cy Montgomery, which is all about the author's interaction with 13 different animals and what it taught her about being good. Her previous book, The Soul of an Octopus, is one of my all-time favorite nonfiction books, so I've been really looking forward to picking this one up. And then finally, off of my books that have been on my TBR the longest list, I am planning on reading Timewarped, Unlocking the Mysteries of Time Perception by Claudia Hammond, in which the author uses neuroscience, psychology, and biology to try to uncover the secrets of how humans perceive the passing of time. Considering I've been in the house for far too long by this point, this one seemed particularly relevant. Is it Sunday? Is it Tuesday? Who even knows anymore? I actually won this one off of a Goodreads giveaway. I think it was back in 2013. So it's about time I give this one a read. I'm losing my mind. And then I just recently won another book off of a Goodreads giveaway, which I promise you does not happen that frequently. I just happen to be reading 2 of them in the same month. But that book is called The Address Book: What Street Addresses Reveal About Identity, Race, Wealth, and Power by Deirdre Mask. I think the subtitle does a pretty good job in explaining the premise of this one, but essentially it's a micro-history all about street addresses and what they say about us. I remember discussing a somewhat similar subject in a sociology course I took in high school, so I'll be interested to see if there are any overlaps. This one comes out on April 14th. I may end up doing a written review of this one. I'll have to see how I get along with it. But regardless, I wanted to prioritize it so the same situation that happened with Timewarped doesn't end up happening with this one. I have 2 other new releases on the docket for April, both of which I'm going to be reviewing for the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, where I've been doing some freelance reviewing, if you haven't heard me talk about that before. But the first of those new releases is The Unsuitable by Molly Polig, which is a surrealist, gothic, Victorian novel all about a woman who's on the brink of becoming a spinster. Her father keeps presenting her with entirely unsuitable candidates for marriage, who she promptly scares off because she's a little bit on the odd side. She believes that her mother, who died giving birth to her, lives in a scar on her neck, and she speaks to her mother via this scar. But then one day, she's introduced to a man with silver skin, and the world's oddest courtship ensues. I'm going to have fun writing about this one, I can already tell. I'll also be reviewing If I Had Your Face by Frances Cha, which follows 4 young women in South Korea who were attempting to navigate a world of impossibly high beauty standards. This one both looks and sounds gorgeous. I can't wait to dive in. And then I plan to continue on with my slow but steady effort to clear out my NetGalley backlog. I'm not even someone who overdoes it with requesting titles, but I get behind anyway. So there are 2 books from that backlog that I would like to prioritize this month. The first of those is called The Illness Lesson by Claire Beams. Claire Beams is actually a Pittsburgh-based author. I have been at an event with her once. I love supporting Pittsburgh authors, and this one sounded really interesting, hence why I requested it in the first place. It's all about girls at a boarding school who come down with a mysterious illness, and people start to think it might have something to do with a flock of red birds in the area. Just like with The Unsuitable, it seems like this one might lean toward the odd side, but considering it feels like we are all living in the upside down right now, I'm more than okay with that. And the other book from the backlog that I'm finally going to pick up is called If Then by Kate Hope Day, which is a suburban novel in which 4 different neighbors start seeing alternate versions of themselves in parallel realities. It seems like one of those books, kind of like The Power, that adds a dose of sci-fi to just straight literary fiction. And then, since it's going to be April, I figured it would make sense to pick up The Enchanted April by Elizabeth von Arman, in which 4 women who are dissatisfied with their lives decide to take a month-long trip to Italy. From everything I hear about this book, it seems completely charming, and it also seems like it will provide me with some of the escapism that I am desperately craving right now. Another book by an Elizabeth that I'm planning to pick up this month is The Signature of All Things by Elizabeth Gilbert. I fell head over heels in love with her book City of Girls last year, and ever since I've been really wanting to pick up this book, which takes place in both the 18th and 19th centuries and bounces across continents as it follows a wealthy businessman and his botanist daughter. I have heard nothing but good things about this book. If I would have ever made a 5-star predictions list for fiction, this one would have been on there. And then finally, as part of my ongoing fascination with the natural history true crime hybrid genre, I'm also planning to read The Orchid Thief by Susan Orlean. In this book, Orlean tells the story of a man who was arrested in the early 90s for stealing rare orchids from a swamp in Florida. But just like all of these books do, it seems like she expands upon that central crime with connected information that's related back to the crime in some kind of a way. I really enjoyed her latest release, the library book, so I've been highly anticipating this one. And yes, my husband did fill me in on the very strange movie adaptation of this one called Adaptation. If I'm feeling patient enough to suffer through a Nicolas Cage film, I'll consider watching it. So those are the books I'm planning to read in the month of April. Please let me know if you've read any of these books, if you've heard about any of these books, or if you're now interested in reading them after hearing me talk about them. You can let me know that, or any other comments or questions you may have down in the comment section below. But if you'd prefer to find me somewhere other than YouTube, I am on a variety of different places on social media, and the links to all of my profiles will be in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.